The teasers dropped, the fandom went silent. In an instant, the entire K-pop world was like turned upside down.
Right, just completely flipped on its head.
Imagine a glowing high-energy stage, right?
Yeah.
Thousands of light sticks waving in perfect sync, and then bam, somebody pulls the main power cable.
Yeah, and the stadium just goes stark, high contrast dark.
Exactly. And a headline rips through the internet.
Wait.
HYBE just SUED NewJeans. Again, the final takedown. But in the notoriously cutthroat world of K-entertainment, the truth behind that clickbait is actually so much more devastating. Welcome to Starscope K-Report. Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
And today's deep dive is all about, deconstructing that massive viral clickbait headline, because the reality of this situation completely shatters the narrative that's being pushed on social media.
Oh, 100%.
HYBE isn't actually suing NewJeans here. Instead, both the agency and the artist are co-defendants, completely trapped in this tangled web of U.S. federal copyright lawsuits over their tracks. How sweet, an ETA.
Yeah, and all while a brutal corporate civil war is basically tearing the fandom's ultimate bias group apart from the inside.
It really is. To untangle this incredibly messy web, you and I are going to be looking at a mountain of documents today. We're pulling from a 40-page federal copyright lawsuit filed in California, internal corporate statements from ADOR, forensic musicology reports, and diving into the raw reactions pouring into the NJ Drama censored Reddit threads.
Yeah, our mission is to really look past the agency PR and figure out how these lawsuits are being weaponized. So let's get into the mechanics of how this all started, focusing on the comeback track. How sweet.
Right, the top line controversy.
Exactly. The overarching narrative here is that a Grammy-nominated producer claims this group stole their demo, and they have brought an exhaustive list of receipts.
Which is just wild to think about for a group this massive.
It is. But to truly grasp how a multi-million-dollar track could allegedly be stolen, you have to understand the modern K-pop A&R machine.
Oh, absolutely. A&R being artists and repertoire, for anyone who might not know.
Right. If you were imagining a band sitting in a garage writing a song together, you just need to throw that image away. The K-pop industry operates on a highly compartmentalized global supply chain.
And that supply chain is built on something called toplining.
Right, which is so crucial to this whole case.
It really is. Basically, a creative agency working with a K-pop group will send out a bare-bones instrumental track to publishing companies all over the world. These companies then assign writers to listen to that beat and construct the catchiest vocal melody and lyrics they can over it.
So they're just laying the vocals over an existing beat.
Exactly. That vocal part is the top line, and it's incredibly common for an agency to buy like 50 different top lines for a single track, slice them all up into tiny fragments, and just stitch them together.
Wow. So they might use a verse from a writer in Sweden, a pre-chorus from a producer in Los Angeles, and then, I don't know, a bridge from a lyricist in Seoul.
Yep, that is exactly how the sausage is made. Which brings us to January 2024. BANA, which is an independent creative agency working very closely with NewJeans label ADOR, sends an instrumental out into the wild.
Okay, and this is where it gets messy.
Super messy. An American singer-songwriter named Audrey Armacost, working with 3 other writers, including a Grammy-nominated producer named Aiden Rodriguez, gets the brief. They write a top line, record a demo called One of a Kind, and submit it back to BANA.
Right, they send it through Pulse Music, their U.S. publisher. And then on January 24th, BANA officially responds. Right.
Yes. They explicitly tell the writers that while they like the top line, they have ultimately decided not to use it.
Ouch. I mean, that happens hundreds of times a day in the music industry, though.
It does. Writers get rejected, they shelve the demo, and they move on. Except, 4 months later, in May 2024, the highly anticipated comeback single, How Sweet, drops.
Oh, boy.
And the original songwriters listen to the track and are absolutely paralyzed, because blasting through their speakers is the exact vocal melody they were told was rejected.
That is insane. They must have lost their mind.
They did. They immediately filed a massive copyright infringement lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California.
And they didn't just sue the label, did they?
No, they cast a massive legal net. They sued absolutely everyone who touched the money.
We are talking about ADOR, the parent company HYBE, the creative agency BANA, Universal Music, Coca-Cola, since the song was heavily licensed for their global ad campaigns.
Right, the exposure there is huge.
And tragically, all 5 members of NewJeans themselves are listed as co-defendants.
Which is so heavy for the girls, but looking at the musicology breakdown in the lawsuit is where the technical reality of the situation becomes undeniable.
Right. Break that down for us, because this is where the math gets weird.
Okay, so the plaintiffs lay out the structural similarities. Both songs share a standard 44 times signature. They both have a tempo of exactly 125 beats per minute.
Pretty standard pop stuff so far.
Yeah, but they are also both in the key of B-flat minor. And the solfege notes in the first verse are completely identical. F, F, E flat, B flat, followed by E flat, C, C, A flat.
Okay, I have to push back on this a little bit, because isn't pop music inherently derivative?
I mean, sure, there are formulas.
Right. You just explained that BANA sent this instrumental track to dozens of people around the world. If 2 different songwriters are given the exact same 125 beat per minute instrumental in the exact same key of B-flat minor, aren't they mathematically bound to stumble into the exact same vocal melodies?
I see where you're going with this.
Think of it like a shared box of Lego bricks. There are only so many standard chords and notes in pop music. If we both build a house using the exact same standard 44 meter and the exact same B-flat minor bricks, is it really theft, or just the reality of modern music trends?
Well, that is the primary defense used in almost every copyright case, and honestly, it often holds up in court. But the plaintiffs completely dismantle that Lego analogy with a forensic smoking gun.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the smoking gun?
If you look at the B-flat minor scale, the natural notes are B-flat, C, D-flat, E-flat, F, G-flat, and A-flat.
Right, that makes sense. Those are the standard bricks provided in the box.
Now look at the musicology report. Both the rejected demo and the final NewJeans track feature a highly specific, strange note. A C-flat.
A C-flat? Wait, that's not in the scale.
Exactly. In music theory, that is called a flat, too. A C-flat does not naturally belong in the B-flat minor scale. To use your analogy, this isn't 2 people independently building the same house.
Right, it's something else entirely.
It's a 31-piece sequence where right in the middle, someone used a custom-molded, glowing neon pink piece that was specifically forged in a private collection. You don't just independently stumble into a 31-note sequence featuring the exact same unnatural, out-of-scale anomaly.
Oh, wow. That completely changes the context. A shared mathematical probability is one thing, but replicating an identical flaw or anomaly across a massive vocal sequence that's like a digital fingerprint.
It really is. And the Korean music experts consulted by Dispatch pointed this out immediately. They noted that the similarities aren't just a general vibe or a shared aesthetic.
It's way more technical than that.
Yeah, they are structurally identical in ways that absolutely defy the statistical probability of independent creation.
And the reaction from netizens to this revelation has been nuclear. If you look at Korean netizens, the K-nets, and the international fandom on Reddit, the mood has shifted from defensive to incredibly tense.
Oh, the fandom is spiraling.
Totally. You have people digging up older quotes, specifically the McNay member Hee-jin statement from March 2024. She publicly said, "Stop copying."
Oh, right. Which was originally aimed at the rookie group Illate when ADOR accused them of plagiarizing NewJeans' whole aesthetic.
Yes, the irony there. So painful for the fandom to process now.
It really is. And then you add the explosive admission from BANA, a New Zealand songwriter who is actually officially credited on HYBE.
Wait, what did she say? I missed this.
Yeah. She did an interview shortly after the release where she casually admitted that the song is, quote, a mix of 3 people's songs merged into one.
Are you serious? By saying that out loud, she is confirming the exact mechanism the lawsuit is alleging.
Exactly. She is admitting that the agency took different puzzle pieces from different submissions and stitched them together in a boardroom.
And the plaintiffs are simply claiming that the agency took their verse 1 top line and dropped it into that mix without giving them credit or compensation.
Which is just wild. And if you think a 31-note top-line coincidence is a legal headache, wait until we look at what happened with their 2023 track ETA.
Right, because that's not even the wildest part of this comeback. Wait until you hear how ADOR is using a completely different lawsuit to throw their former CEO under the bus.
Oh, the corporate sabotage here is unmatched.
It really is. This perfectly transitions us into the second major crisis hitting the group, where Baltimore club music meets high-stakes corporate sabotage. How SUED isn't an isolated incident.
Not at all.
All Surface Publishing, a New York-based publisher, is suing over the massive 2023 hit ETA. They claim the track illegally lifted the syncopated horn melody, the 16th note rhythmic structure, and the exact bass drum pattern from a 2005 track called Samir's Theme.
Right, created by a prominent Baltimore club musician named DJ Debonair Samir.
For those listening who might not be familiar with the mechanics of that genre, a syncopated horn melody means the accent of the brass instruments hits off the main beat, giving it an incredibly distinct, bouncy feel.
Yeah, it's very specific to that regional sound.
Exactly. And a 16th note rhythmic structure is basically a very fast, stuttering drum pattern that drives the chaotic energy. These elements are the absolute signature fingerprints of Baltimore club music.
And what blows my mind about this specific case is how it was uncovered. Normally, copyright disputes like this are dug up years later by forensic musicologists running specialized software to compare waveforms, right?
Yeah, usually it takes forever to build a case.
But when the Get Up EP dropped in 2023, music critics at Pitchfork and Paste magazine instantly published reviews pointing out the similarities.
No way. They caught it on day one.
They literally recognized Samir's theme in real time on the day the album was released. That's how obvious it was to trained ears.
Wow. And the plaintiffs in this case are not messing around. They aren't just asking for a retroactive writing credit. They are demanding a massive cut of the profits, a complete ban on the song being distributed, and up to $150,000 in statutory damages.
Which is a huge hit considering ETA has over 470 million streams on Spotify alone.
And furthermore, they dragged Apple into the lawsuit because Apple licensed ETA for a massive global iPhone advertising campaign. The financial exposure here is astronomical.
It's a literal nightmare for the legal department.
Now, if you are listening to this and wondering how a multi-million-dollar agency responds to being sued for blatantly copying a Baltimore club track, you have to look at the internal corporate civil war happening at the exact same time.
Right. This is where the plot thickens.
I have ADOR's official statement regarding the lawsuits right here. They responded by saying they are, quote, reviewing internal records to determine whether the necessary procedures, including an assessment of potential musical similarities, were properly carried out at the time.
See, you have to read the subtext of that statement very, very carefully.
It feels weirdly passive, doesn't it?
It does. Usually, a K-pop agency will immediately issue a fiery, aggressive press release denying all allegations and threatening legal action against anyone spreading defamation.
Right, they usually go scorched earth.
But ADOR's statement here is terrifyingly calm. They are essentially saying, we don't know if our team did their jobs right. We're looking into it.
Let's break down the legal and PR mechanism of what ADOR is actually doing here. By stating that they are reviewing internal records to see if procedures were followed at the time, they are legally signaling to the courts and their shareholders that HYBE, the parent company, is merely a victim of rogue contractors.
Exactly. They aren't defending the song at all. They are weaponizing the plagiarism claims to shield the parent company from corporate negligence.
Which ties directly back to Hee-jin. She was the CEO of ADOR, the visionary mastermind who conceptualized and created NewJeans.
Yeah, and she was brutally fired in 2024 after one of the most bitter public corporate disputes in the history of K-pop.
Oh, it was everywhere. Leaked text messages, press conferences, allegations of hostile takeovers.
Total chaos. But you might be wondering, how does her firing connect to these specific songs?
Right, because you have to follow the money and see who actually sorts the tracks. The creative agency that sourced ETA and how SUED was BANA.
And the CEO of BANA is a man named Hee-jin Kim. Hee-jin Kim happens to be Hee-jin's ex-boyfriend and her former A&R partner.
The drama is just endless.
It really is. During her tenure as CEO, Hee-jin paid Hee-jin Kim over $663,000 in service fees, plus a 5% cut of the group's revenue, to exclusively handle A&R for NewJeans. She notoriously went on record stating, Kim Ki-hoon is NewJeans. He produced all the songs.
So ADOR is actively using a federal copyright lawsuit from an independent Baltimore club artist as a corporate burn pit to incinerate the legacy of their former CEO.
Bingo.
They are carefully framing the narrative to ensure that this entire legal nightmare lands squarely on Hee-jin's old regime and her inner circle.
It is a level of Machiavellian corporate sabotage that makes the music itself entirely secondary to the boardroom warfare. And if you love staying updated on your favorites and uncovering the truth behind the headlines, make sure you subscribe to Starscope K Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead.
Definitely. But later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking plot twist regarding the NewJeans members' contracts that nobody saw coming. Because while the corporate executives play chess with these lawsuits, the human toll on the group itself is absolutely staggering.
It really is heartbreaking, a fandom in mourning as the Halley wave crashes.
Let's look at the actual fallout and the fractured legacy of the group. To really understand the pressure these members are under, we have to stack the evidence of this legal nightmare. We have the House Suite topline lawsuit with the C-flat anomaly. We have the ETA Baltimore Club lawsuit dragging in Apple.
And it doesn't stop there.
No, it doesn't. To make matters worse, there's a looming threat from the British jazz funk band Shock Attack, who claim NewJeans' track Bubblegum illegally copied their 1981 song Easier Said Than Done.
Right, citing identical rhythm, melody, and tempo.
That is 3 massive back-to-back plagiarism scandals surrounding a single comeback era. The weight of that on young artists is just unimaginable.
And the factual breakdown of the members' current contract status reveals just how much damage has been done. In late 2024, the members made a desperate, abortive attempt to terminate their exclusive contracts with ADOR.
They clearly wanted out of the corporate crossfire.
But escaping a massive conglomerate like that rarely goes as planned. Fast forward to today, and the roster has been completely splintered. Hani, Heron, and Hee-jin have officially rejoined ADOR and are back under the label's control.
But in a brutal, shocking twist, Danielle was officially dropped by the label in December. Her contract was terminated.
Which sent shockwaves through the fandom.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, the status of the final member, Minji, is still completely pending in legal limbo. Nobody knows what's going to happen to her.
When you contrast this incredibly dark reality with their historic peak in 2023, it just makes you sick. Back then, the Get Up EP secured a legendary all-kill.
Oh, that was huge.
For those who might not know, an all-kill is basically the holy grail in Korean music. It means a song simultaneously locks down the #1 spot on every single major domestic stream platform in real time.
Yeah, they debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 just a year into their career. They were undeniable.
And now the fandom is completely shattered. Reading through the NJ Dremel Uncensored threads on Reddit, the raw emotion is incredibly heavy. One user posted a massive thread titled, "Anybody else here who used to be a NewJeans fan and is still grieving disappointed about how things turned out?"
And I bet the comments were just gut-wrenching.
Oh, it had hundreds of comments echoing that exact sentiment of loss. You are witnessing the death of the OT5 dream.
Right. And in K-pop fandoms, OT5 means one true 5, representing the belief that the original 5 members would stay together forever and conquer the world.
And that dream is officially dead. You have factions of fans who are incredibly angry at HYBE for their ruthless tactics. You have fans angry at Hee-jin for allegedly fostering this chaotic A&R environment. And you have fans who believe ADOR is actively sabotaging the remaining girls to reset the board.
The effortless, cool Y2K magic that defined this group's visuals and sound has been completely overshadowed by the cold, industrial machinery of its own production.
It's so sad.
You look at the Spotify numbers, 470 million streams for ETA, and it feels so hollow when you realize the girls who actually sang it are sitting in legal limbo, with one member entirely kicked out, while the creators fight over the scraps in a California courtroom.
Taking a step back, this entire saga leaves us with a truly chilling question about the architecture of the broader K-pop industry. Think about the mechanical reality of what BANA admitted on record and what the House Suite lawsuit alleges happened.
The Frankenstein assembly method, basically.
Precisely. If the standard operating procedure for creating a massive global K-pop comeback is to cast an incredibly wide net, commission dozens of instrumental tracks, source hundreds of top lines from writers scattered across the globe, and then arbitrarily slice them up in a boardroom without rigorous forensic tracking.
Oh, I see what you're saying. How many other massive K-pop hits are sitting on a legal landmine right now?
Exactly. Is the K-pop machine's relentless demand for content fundamentally incompatible with strict Western copyright laws? When you are manufacturing music at that speed via global supply chains, it really raises the question of whether you can truly guarantee originality, or if plagiarism is just an accepted, calculated operational hazard.
That is a terrifying thought for the industry. We'll hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update. We will be tracking all of these lawsuits, the contract statuses of the remaining members, and the shifting landscape of K-pop copyright law as this continues to unfold.
The glowing stage went dark, but the story is far from over.
You've been listening to Starscope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.